I'd like to focus in on Yirtzeh Hashem today on a specific part of the Haggadah. And that is right after we mention the 10 Makos, the 10 plagues. We say, Rabbi Yehuda haya notein bahem simanim. Rabbi Yehuda used to express them with abbreviations. Tzach adash ba'achav. The tzach stands for dam, svardei, akinim, the first 3 of the makos. Adash, arov, dever, shchin, the next 3. Ba'achav, barad, arbe, choshech, and makas bechoro, the last grouping of 4. So when we take a look at this statement of Rabbi Yehuda, we obviously have a number of questions that come to mind. The first and most obvious question, which is expressed in source number 2, V'yesh lavin l'sheiman nizkak Rabbi Yehuda l'nijnat hasimanim halalu lachar shenimnu kol esar makos ma tosefet yesh bazeh. The Haggadah just listed all the makos, dam, svardei, akinim. So what is Rabbi Yehuda adding by saying, let me tell you, you can divide them up by tzach, adash, ba'achav. What is Rabbi Yehuda coming to add that I don't know from the previous statement that there were Esser Makos, there were 10 plagues? And they listed 10 plagues. That's question 1. The second part of that question is, if already you're going to say that Rabbi Yehuda had a certain mindset he was trying to teach us by using the abbreviations and dividing them up into groupings, why specifically this set of groupings, 3, 3, and 4? Why not 5 times 2, right? Dam Sardeya, Kini Maro. Why not 5 and 5? Right? There's many permutations that we could do. But why specifically this division of the Esser Makos? Why not 6 and 4, right? There are many options. There obviously has to be something being taught here. That's question 1. Question number 2, we know Mitifim ma'at yayin min hakos b'chol siman v'siman, as noted in 1a. We take a little bit of wine from the cup when we say Ditzach, Hadash, and Ba'achav, and we put it on our plate. Right? Like we do by the 10 Makos, like Dam, Va'esh, V'timar, Ashan. What is the significance of taking out a little bit of wine from our cup? That's the second question when saying Ditzach, Hadash, Ba'achav, but the question applies to all the times we do it. And the third question, which is our most favorite question, is obviously Ditzach, Hadash, Ba'achav has to be their implication has to be a message for our lives. There has to be something that we can learn from it. It's not just telling us information that there are abbreviations for the makos, but the abbreviations and the fact that he creates these abbreviations must be a message, must be a lesson for our lives. And the question is, what is that lesson? What can we learn from this for our lives? I'd like to try to take a look at this on 3 different levels. One perhaps the most simple, the second more of a drash level, and the third much more of a remes type of level, of a hinting type of level, and in all 3 to see the lessons that we can derive for our lives. So let's start. There is an approach that's found continuing in source 2. Habeir hu Rabbi Yehuda lo ratza lo tzi v'piv hatahor et shmod hamakod hamuganot v'lechein hamarak et rashi tevot shelahem. And it's echoed in English in source 3 that Rabbi Akiva was very careful about what came out of its mouth. So instead of mentioning these makos, which are horrible plagues that happen, shchin and arbe and all these dever and these terrible plagues, so instead of mentioning them specifically, you hint to them by just saying the Rashi Tevot, the abbreviation. Very similar to the way the Gemara begins the chapter having to do with Pesach, or La Barsar, the night of the 14th. It doesn't say Erev, the night, it says the light of, or La Barsar. So instead of using Erev, use a nicer way of saying it, the light of, or. So too, in any case that we can speak in a more appropriate, refined way, the better we are. And we'll come back in Yirtzeh Hashem to this idea at the end. The second way to look at this, which is similar, is the beginning of source 3. Thus did Rabbi Yehuda abbreviate the list of plagues by their initial. As the sages say, a man should always teach his pupils to be precise. In any way that you can be able to give over the point in a more precise fashion, a more concise fashion, that's what you should do. So Rabbi Yehuda Yanotein Hem Simani, it's a lesson for us. If you could teach over the same material but in a more concise way, that's preferable. There's a beautiful idea from the Kutzker Rebbe, the Or Daniel brings down, where a person came to the Kutzker Rebbe in source 4 and asked, what is the secret to Yiddishkeit? in the Kutzker, who we know was very succinct, said the following: I'll tell you that the key, the Petach, Liyadu, is in 5 words. Kadesh, Urchatz, Karpas, Yachatz, Magi. The first 5 steps in the Haggadah. What does this mean? Kadesh, sanctify all your thoughts and actions. Urchatz, purify your midos, your character traits, and your negative impulses. Karpas is Rashi Tevot, is an acronym for Klal Rishon. The first rule, Pes Satum, have a closed mouth. Yachatz Magid, and what you have to say only half of that, say the least amount, then Magid. Yachatz, split it, and then Magid, then say it. Zeh Maftech Liyadus. That's Judaism. Sanctify yourself, purify yourself, and talk as least as possible. And that's what Rabbi Yehuda is teaching us here. If you don't have to mention the plagues, and you can mention it. The third aspect in this